Let's fix your serve in 10 minutes. Now these simple tips will get progressively harder, and I wish somebody would have taught me them earlier in my career. My serve has always been my weapon, the fastest clocking in at 132 miles an hour. These tips would have helped me then, and it will help you now, no matter your level, so stay tuned. First tip is about the grip. You want to get into a chopper grip, which will allow you to have the most snap on the ball. It allows you to have pronation and a hit into the shot. Very often I see players starting with a semi-western grip, like a frying pan grip. And like this, they're not able to get a lot of power on the shot. They're not able to get that snap from the top to let the ball come down. They're not able to get the accuracy that they need on the shot. So if you're someone that's struggling with your serve, start to move your grip around a little bit. And at the beginning, it will feel weird. It'll feel like, how on earth am I able to hit a consistent contact on the shot? Because you'll feel like you're going to be slicing the ball. Because a continental grip, or the chopper grip, it's naturally coming up like this. So if you are making contact too low, then you're not able to open the strings up, and you'll always end up slicing the right side of the ball. For this, in order to get it right, make sure that you positioned yourself sideways onto the court, so your left shoulder should be facing towards your opponent. And as you throw the ball up, make sure that the contact is nice and high above your shoulder here. So here, notice, it's not going to be like this. I can then turn my grip. I can even turn it all the way across. I have a lot of control here, and I can relax my hand in order to turn it there. For this, when you're holding it, that chopper grip, make sure that you're not just simply holding it like this as a fist. It's important to have a little bit of space here between your index finger and the rest of your hand. This allows you to have a slight angle like this here, where you're now able to reach up a little bit higher here. And again, this allows for you to have an easy rotation of the grip and allows for that easy power. So start moving your grip around to this side and see how quickly your serve can improve. Now the grip was pretty easy, so let's look at something a little bit more interesting, the toss. Now you want to get the toss in an optimal position, which means it has to be slightly above your racket so that it starts to come down and you can hit it with the correct part of your racket. You want to be able to synchronize the rest of your move and have enough time to hit the shot. Have the toss too low, and you're going to end up hitting the net, because you're going to be making the contact like this, where the strings are going to be facing down, because the lower the contact, the lower the toss, the more difficult it is for us to open the racket face into contact. Now, if the toss is too high, the higher the toss, the faster that ball starts to come down at us into the racket. So it becomes a little bit more difficult to time. It also becomes more difficult in the sun and the wind. But the main thing that a toss that is a bit too high affects is your timing. Because the moment the ball leaves your hand and it starts to go up, you need to then go down with your legs. And if you have a toss that's very high, you now are going to be stuck in this position for too long, where you're not going to be dynamic up into contact. So imagine getting down to do a long jump. If I want to go down and forward and jump into the court, I'm not going to want to sit here for too long, because the longer I stay like this, the more energy my muscles are now losing. It stops being dynamic. So you want to time your move with your toss. You want to time the bend of the legs with your toss. And that's why sometimes now the abbreviated serve is very popular, with a slightly lower toss. Players like Nick Kyrgios, for example, he has quite a low toss, and he goes forward very quickly. He doesn't allow the ball to drop too much. He hits it in that peak, but because of that slightly lower toss, he moves his arms very quickly, and he's very dynamic into the court, giving him a lot of snap on the shot. Now I understand that for many of us, and even for me, for example, I prefer more of a classic serve, where I take my racket back like this, so I need a little bit of time. So the ideal position of the toss for me is slightly higher than my racket. And I like to think of it as one racket length above my head, above my racket head. So if I stretch out and I think about having my contact there, so that's where I want to make contact, I need to throw my ball a little bit higher than that, about a racket head higher than that contact so that the ball just starts to drop and then I'm hitting it. It still hasn't created a lot of speed on the way down, but it also has given me enough space to create that, you know, the swing, the trophy pose, the take back, the loop, and the hit of the shot. So play around with your toss. The toss needs to be in front of you, so make sure that you're tossing make sure you're keeping it straight. You want to have a nice rhythm to your toss, so you go down, then up, down, then up, and it's a very good thing for you to practice doing. So be able to throw the ball up and catch it without moving too much and the ball not rotating. Guys, have you subscribed to the channel yet? Make sure you press the subscribe button and the notification bell. Now let's get back to the lesson. So now we're ready to get into our shoulder position. When we toss the ball, we want to have the longest lever possible to give us power, so we're extending into that contact. But prior to that, we need to get our throwing motion in place. So we want to have a slightly elevated left shoulder. Our tossing arm, as we toss, will now have to stay up like this so that the level of our shoulders becomes skewed. So it's not going to be like this, it's not horizontal to the ground, it's slightly diagonal. We want that right shoulder dropped below the left, because from here now, when I throw, I'm replacing the left with the right shoulder, giving me a lot of power that I'm generating from that tilt, the shoulder tilt, the rotation, and the leg drive up into contact. So the move looks a little bit like this, where I go into contact. I go from here up into the shot, and you can get a lot of power here as you go up into contact simply with the tilt of your shoulders. It's a little bit like a seesaw action where the left shoulder is at the top to start with as you toss, and then you replace it with the right shoulder in order to have the hit. So make sure you're getting into that correct trophy pose. If you've ever seen the trophies in the tennis tournaments, they're always like this, the ATP logo. This is the position that you want to get to give you the optimal way to throw into contact. Now, if you want to improve other areas of your serve, make sure you download our free serve PDF guide in the link underneath this video. There we'll cover all the different aspects of the serve to help accelerate your improvement. So this brings us nicely into our rhythm of motion. Now, the rhythm of your serve depends on the technique that you have. If you're someone like a Monfils or Andy Roddick, you have something called the abbreviated serve, where the motion is fast to slow to fast. A classic serve is slow to fast, slow to fast. So there's always a peak where the racket slows down here at the top on both of the serves, the abbreviated and the classic. But on the classic, this arm takes a lot longer to get there. It's not fast, stop, hit. It's slow, hit. And it depends on how you view your serve and how much you've practiced each one and which one you prefer. Now, yes, you can learn that rhythm, but you also will have it in you naturally, and you can test it by how you throw the ball. So if I pick up a ball naturally, before I even serve, this is how I throw. So I go here and I throw. This part is slow and then I release. So if I was to teach a player the serve and I want to work on their rhythm, I'm going to watch them throw the ball first. If I see them doing that, where I see that fast, then release, I'm going to be teaching the abbreviated serve, because naturally they have that predisposition to bring the arm up quickly, stop, and then release. If I see a player who's doing this a little bit more, naturally that's what they're doing. So I wouldn't want to break it and start teaching them the abbreviated serve when naturally they have that. So look at the toss first, and it's also a good idea to sometimes maybe not even use a ball, use like an American football or something a little bit heavier, because it's very difficult to cheat. With this ball, it's very light, you know, they can do something very quick, whereas if you have something a little bit heavier, it's now difficult to cheat on that movement. And it most mimics that movement of a serve, because the racket, you know, it weighs in your hand, and that racket momentum of the head carries weight in your hand as well. So now that we know which rhythm we get, say we have the abbreviated serve, we need to now time the toss with that abbreviated serve. What we want to have is our arm to be in this position and our shoulders tilted and ready, as the ball reaches the apex. So that means that I need to have a slightly lower toss so that I can go straight into contact. So it's here, up, hit. So the pause is always there, or the slight slowdown, but then the hit happens much quicker afterwards. Whereas on the classic, I'll have a little bit more time. I go back and hit. So it's slow to fast, fast, slow, fast. Play around with that rhythm, see which one you prefer. Let's get you serving faster. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you start serving rockets out there next time you go on the court. Let me know what you think of this video and which tip helped you the most. Anyhow, I hope you subscribe to the channel, press the notification bell so you don't miss out on future lessons from us, and I'll see you in our next lesson.